Hey, what's up? I'm Courtney, also known as Self-Care Creature, and I work with creative individuals to help you deepen your intuition, raise your self-worth, and spread your awareness so that you can live a truly fulfilled and empowered existence.
Something that I don't talk about or haven't talked about thus far in my life so very much is being hypermobile. And as I am coming back around again to wanting to incorporate more movement in my life and feeling called to help others on that journey as well, and realizing how big of a part it is to heal from trauma, which I just love that it's like this transmutation on all these different levels that you don't even have to be aware of. And if you can learn how to just support yourself and show up and like start getting comfortable to be in your body, all of these shifts start happening. As a person that is hypermobile and I want to start moving again and I haven't been in a regular fitness regime, it actually takes a lot to get into a regime. I can't just jump into it. And so I wrote down some things that I wanted to share, what being a hypermobile feels and looks like, really, especially as like an active individual. Sore joints is the #1 thing. And it's especially after physical activity. Most recently, I've been feeling it in my knees, ankles, low back, and especially my right elbow. Like when I'm doing yoga and things like that, it's like my elbows will be sore for days after. And if you're not familiar with what hypermobile is, maybe I should have started with this. It's an overextension of the joints past where the normal range of motion tends to be, and therefore the joints tend to slide or slip out of place more than the average person, and they also have to work harder to stay in place. So an example like hot yoga for a hypermobile person is a little bit of a special hell because we have to work so much harder to make sure that our joints, like me for my shoulders, are like slipped back and in socket, and then, you know, everything's engaged, and here comes the teacher wanting to give me an adjustment and encourage me to go deeper because she can tell that I'm very flexible. And I'm like, please don't touch me. I am struggling here. I do love hot yoga and I do go sometimes. But I just wanted to give you like a little heads up on exactly what that's like. So yeah, sore joints happen, joints that, like I just said, pop and slide out of place during otherwise normal activities. That's a big thing too. You don't necessarily have to be active. I mean, just doing fun things. You decide you want to like go for a stroll or something, and like, you know, you have wobbly ankles that want to roll all the time, and it's not really a fun experience. So I first started noticing these things when I played roller derby. So I'd fall down during practice and my shoulders would just like pop out of place real quick, and I didn't know anything about it then. I was just like, oh, that was weird, and the pain didn't really last long, so I just got up and kept skating. My most significant roller derby injury was when I dislocated my left knee and I sprained my MCL, and that set me back for about 12 weeks or so at that time. Other joints that I have felt slip out of place or and have felt slip out of place, so like, you know, they pop out, slip out real quick, and also that has left some lingering pain, include my right thumb, my right hip. My ankles do roll very easily, my toes, especially my big toes. Like I tripped on the stairs once and I felt my big toe come out of socket and it hurt. I was like, oh my god. I'm really fucking grateful that my joints do slide back into place because other people with hypermobility aren't that lucky. Other places is my SI joint. My low back tends to be very, very finicky, and I've even felt my jaw slip out of place. So my low back and my knees are almost always where what starts acting up when I want to jump back into being active. And that can be really frustrating. Like sometimes I just want to go on like a little jog or whatever, and it's like I have to keep in mind my low back, especially like my SI joint and my hips are just like cranky when I don't take the time to really build it up. So if I get out of a regular movement regime, I must start with core and foundational work first to stabilize and strengthen my joints in order for this to not happen. And I would argue that everyone needs to do this when they get out of a routine. It's a really big part of injury prevention, but most people can go for like a quick little jog or lift some weights if they want to, and that just like isn't the same for me. I'm realizing like I can't just go for a quick jog and not have any repercussions or objections from my body. Also joints that click, pop, slide, or lock up. So one thing that happens to me often is like I'll go to stand up and I'll straighten my leg and it feels like the knee catches and it's not clicking into place like it's supposed to, and it's really painful, and I just have to like, straighten my leg again real quick and then go, and it helps it like realign. But just little things like that probably most people don't have to think about. You can probably just stand up and your knees click into place like they're supposed to. I also have extensive shoulder issues, as I have mentioned plenty of times. But my shoulders dislocate, and historically it's always been my left shoulder, and I've had 2 full dislocations, posterior dislocations, with the left shoulder where I needed assistance getting it put back in. But recently, I could tell that my right shoulder slipped out of place in my sleep. I know that when I have my hands kind of like this, and I love sleeping like this, oh my god, it's just like so comfy. You get a little pillow there and you're just like, ah. Well, my shoulders slide out of place so easy in this position, and I just know that my right shoulder slipped out of place recently because of the way that it hurt. I have this experience with my left shoulder dislocating over the last few years, and so I just knew that that's what had happened to my right shoulder in my sleep when I woke up because of the way that it was sore and painful. And I honestly, I didn't really use my right arm much for the next few days after that because of that. And this is just a little video of some of the things that hypermobile people live with. And one of the biggest things that I hear in the hypermobile community is that you don't want to do fitness, you can't just jump into things, and especially yoga. Don't fucking talk to me about doing yoga. That's what people say, and I respect your boundaries, whatever you have to say. But I just want you to know that you can be a hypermobile athlete and that you can learn to take care of yourself. And it's a daunting opportunity, but it's also an opportunity for you to be able to transmute some trauma more than the average person, because you have to slow down and tune in that much more. So let me know if you have any questions. I'm more than happy to answer them, and that's where I'm at.